Listen on with the show as we focus on all things Ramadan. Guest co-host today is the design director and the partner at Say Studios, we heard earlier, Emirati-American designer with a commitment to socially responsible design. Warm welcome to the sofa, to the show, to Laila Al Yousuf. Laila, great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation.
I'm interested to find out, I mean, when it comes to the month of Ramadan, the holy month of Ramadan, and obviously we see different designs, a lot of people, we see them out in the streets, etc. But when it comes to your spaces, your personal space, your home space, your corporate space, can you make a difference? Can design make you have more recognition, more spirituality?
Yeah, I think absolutely. So one of the most important things about interior design is you're designing for an entire environment. It's not just about a pretty picture. So we have the power to make people feel a certain way when they come into a space. So you think of multi-sensory experiences, multi-sensory design. You look at how something can make you feel when you touch it, or the way that lighting is within a space, how relaxed you can feel, how comfortable you can feel. So we have the power of driving all of that. I think it's important to recognize how people feel during Ramadan. They could be a little bit tired, so lighting is an important factor. You want to make sure that you have lighting that's not glare, that's not too harsh on somebody, gives them headaches, makes them feel fatigued. So there's lots of different things like that. Yeah, when there's a little too much lighting. It's good that this isn't quite Ramadan yet. Then it can make you affect how you feel. So it's important to feel mindful, to be mindful of that, because ultimately Ramadan is about reflection, and it's about giving people the proper space to feel like they're comfortable.
Well, Laila, let's talk about striking that balance, because I feel like I can go a little overboard with my lanterns during Ramadan. But how do you strike that balance between, respecting the culture and the traditions and also having a modern design?
Yeah, I think it's about taking cues from the location that you're in and thinking about what is relevant here, and design ultimately is about personal feeling as well and how you feel within it. It's a very personal application of how you feel. So taking cues from Dubai, taking cues from the region, incorporating certain elements of color, lighting we also spoke about originally. And then also, we have this opportunity of modernizing certain things. So taking a cue from where we're coming from, but then modernizing it, innovating on different types of designs, just in the choices that you make within spaces. But as I said, design is ultimately about personal choice. And in Ramadan, it's an opportunity to create a space for reflection, to give the opportunity to people to have that kind of moment of gratitude.
It is interesting, isn't it, Laila? Because when people think Ramadan, they think tradition, they think old-fashioned, but also people like their things modern. So how do you personally tread that line between the traditional and the contemporary?
I think you've got to think about what the spirit of Ramadan is about. So it's not necessarily, when you talk about traditions, the aspect of it and what are we asking people to do in this time frame, we're asking people to reflect on who you are this year, what the future will be, reflect on all the elements of gratitude that you have, reflect on the fact that we are in a melting pot of cultures here. So when we talk about applications of certain things, we have to think about the people who are living within this environment and how we can merge all of their sensibilities into something. So it's a time for family, it's a time for gratitude, it's a time for reflection. And it's important to bring in all of the elements of the other cultures that we have here, not necessarily force like one design style or one element down with individual people, but take the opportunity of learning from the other people around you, inviting people into your house, having certain activities within the house, inviting other people within your office, for example, to take this time to reflect and remember the spirit of the month.
To that point on diversity, and obviously very diverse work environment here, and a lot of companies will employ a number of different nationalities, etc. I suppose your home space is one thing, you've got a bit more control over that. When it's your workspace as an employer or an HR department, etc., what's your sort of advice to employers to reflect Ramadan within the workspace?
I think a lot of it is also about patience. So if you've never experienced Ramadan before, you have to be mindful of the fact that people are going, they're taking this moment to try to celebrate their spirituality. They are trying to give back to their communities. They are trying to appreciate all the gifts that we have and the level of need around other parts in the world. And Ramadan, for the people who have fasted and have spent their lives fasting, I've spent my life fasting, so I'm quite used to it. And it doesn't bother me when other people would eat in front of me. I'm more than happy, because in fact you're actually challenging me in some way. And I'm completely okay with that. But on the flip side, for the person who is eating there, just be mindful of what other people are doing. So a lot of offices, for example, we do a lot of corporate spaces. Sometimes there is a breakout space which is a little tucked away, can be made a little bit private. for that moment. But then for the people who are fasting as well, they need spaces to take a break. So whether it's like a wellness room, for example, because quite often the issue, you know, in a normal day, you would get up and you would get a snack, or you would get a drink of water. But if you're fasting, you don't have an opportunity to do that necessarily. Yeah. So you quite often get stuck where you are. But if you can create a wellness space or reflection space or whatever it may be, then that gives the people who are fasting the opportunity to step away and to take a break. We've done like nap rooms in the past where people can go. And I mean, I think most employers are quite respectful of the fact that people need a break during the day, whether you're fasting or not. So at least this gives the opportunity to people to go there and rest for a while. You need that in Ramadan. It can be difficult, even for the people who are quite used to doing it, having done it their whole lives.
Nap room. Where were you when I had a full-time job? I never had a nap room. Now let's branch out a little bit. I know that you incorporate a lot of sustainable practices, I'm sure, during Ramadan as well. What are some of the eco-friendly hacks that you have for design?
So one thing is water. A lot of people have bottled water everywhere. I mean, we are a country that we don't necessarily drink tap water, but you can put filters on your water at home or even at the office and drink the water from the tap. There are a lot of companies that do that, and there's a lot of waste that you generate just from plastic. I think another thing is there's a lot of, if you go to the iftar buffets and suhoor and all of this, there's a lot of food wastage, so just being cognizant of the amount of food that is being generated in that time period. I think also, this is a moment to give back, so for people to learn from that as well, and just be mindful of your general habits during Ramadan. Yeah, sorry.
For people who don't want to completely transform their space, what would you say are the key items that they should do to just get that festive feeling in the house?
I think probably lighting, again, I think is probably a really big one. So you can see around here today, you've got some decor items that are here that already bring in the spirit of Ramadan. The different lanterns, the crescent moons, even simple things like that can really transform a space. Again, for me, Ramadan is about inviting people into your house and having these moments to break your fast together. So even just having a spread and having a beautiful, we actually sit on the floor, but laying something beautiful on the floor and inviting people into your house and to enjoy that. You don't really need that much. Most people just want to get together and have that time to spend together. But probably lighting is one of the easiest, quickest things that you could do.
Absolutely.
Well, Laila, you clearly know your stuff, and I'm glad that we have you here with us and that you're sticking around, so stay right there. Now, coming up after the break, we'll be finding out about a concept that enhances the individuality and beauty in everyone's home. We'll see you in a bit.